All right, welcome back to Sip the Tally Family. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and this is going to be my reaction to the Baltimore Ravens selected Nate Wiggins with the first round pick number 30, and the 2024 NFL Draft, which happened last night. A little background that which is public knowledge that Nate Wiggins ran a 4.28 at the NFL Combine, 6'1", 173 pounds, which is what he weighed at the combine. Kitty probably picked up some weight since then, but everybody kind of works out and does combine testing and whatnot, to kind of be their lightest and their fastest and their nimblest at the combine. So it's 173 his playing weight. I'm not really sure. Matter of fact, I can look at my beast and see what they have him listed as for his playing weight. So give me a second, I'll do that. And I apologize for not having this already ready, but I just thought about it when we were talking about it. Let me see what pages running backs start on, and I'll go to that. So give me a second. Not running backs, I'm sorry, cornerbacks. Cornerbacks start on page 252. And this kind of gives me a better idea of what his playing weight is. But at the combine, he was 173. 252, that's 270, 264, 262, 254, Quinion Mitchell, Nate Wiggins. So they have him at 273 also. 173 also. His pro day, he was 182. So it's probably closer to his playing weight. His pro day, he was 182. So that's probably closer to his playing weight, 182. So let's say 185, 190 is probably closer to what he'll probably play at. But 4.28 was blazing. I think he ran a 4.31 and a 4.28. That's blazing. A few PFF numbers, and again, take PFF for what it's worth. But they had him graded as the number 37 corner in the nation. And keep in mind, this is all of the corners in college football, and it's way more college football teams than it is NFL. It's 32 NFL teams. It might be 32 SEC teams, and I'm joking, but it's way more college football teams, and he was the number 37 corner by PFF metrics. And keep in mind, they rate small school corners and everything. He was number 37 with a 83.9 grade. He had 41 targets, only 18 catches, which is a 43.9% catch rate. He had 2 interceptions and 4 PBUs this year, which is, to me, is outstanding. Outstanding numbers for a guy. Let's kind of get into what the experts think about Nate Wiggins. So let me go to my next slide. And this is from and you all can see this is on NFL.com, and this is their overview of Nate Wiggins. Excuse me. Wiggins' combination of coverage talent and traits make him a defensive coordinator's dream. He's tall, long, and fast with rare recovery speed when beaten. Silky smooth lower body movement allows him to mirror releases and trace routes without much effort. He can squeeze a little tighter from off-man coverage, while his rare as a cover 3 cornerback makes him a dangerous option to throw near. He plays with good recognition and elite burst to the throw, which could lead to Pro Bowl production if he can play with more consistent decisiveness. He needs to become a tougher player in run support, and that's what I hear a lot of people talking about. That he needs to tackle better. Like anybody that talks negatively about Wiggins, it talks about his run support and being a better tackler. So that's the only negative thing I've heard about Wiggins so far. Wiggins' speed, scheme versatility, and playmaking instinct should make him the most sought-after cornerback in this draft. And that's from NFL.com. So they also talked about, or they gave a list of his weaknesses and his strengths. So his strengths they gave, hold on. A long frame, should be able to support adding good weight. Smooth back pedal and man athletic field coverage. In cover 3, outstanding feel for the rhythm of the route. Hips on a swivel for easy lateral transition. And we're going to show that. This in particular strength, we're going to show this a little bit later on a couple of clips of film that I got for you in a little bit. That's with his hips. Feet and balance help to phase routes up and down the sideline. instinctive and ability to read clues quarterbacks and and receivers provide. We're gonna show that too. We're gonna show that strength too. Blazing recovery speed to run and catch just about anyone. We're gonna show that one also. We're definitely gonna show that one. Had 2 pick sixes and a blocked field goal off the edge during his career. I don't have either one of the pick sixes. They happened in his junior year. I don't have either one of those, so we're not gonna show those. But you probably can go, if you go to YouTube and just look up his highlights. I'm sure those pick sixes on there, but I can't do the highlights because they the TV version, so I can't show you those. And then the weaknesses from the NFL.com: too much cushion allowed in off-man coverages. And even on the pick that I do show you, it's gonna be a lot of cushion, but his instincts and his speed to close gonna make up for it, and you'll see it. Tardy time in the flip and run, the route allowed in deep ball opportunities. And there's a play that I didn't put on here, but Tez Walker beats him on a play early in the North Carolina game where Tez just ran past him, and I guess he thought because he's so fast that he can allow Tez to just run past him and he could catch up, but Tez fast too. And so and then once he realized, okay, I can't just let Tez run past me, he kind of locked Tez up for the rest of that game. So that's one of those instances right there. Face guard deep balls, leaving too much catch clearance for the target, and that's what happened on that ball too. Still room for additional aggression and decisiveness in attacking throws, and awareness and effort was disappointing in run support. And again, that's where people talked about they don't think he can tackle or he's not aggressive enough in run support. And this comes from The Beast, which is the book I just referenced a minute ago, which I got it sitting in front of me right here. Strengths: a high caliber athlete with top end speed to stay attached to receivers one-on-one. And again, his speed is crazy. 4.28. Good awareness and man in zone. I'm just gonna pick some things out of this. I ain't gonna read it all. Doesn't lack for confidence and enjoys trying to get in the head of receivers. One NFL scout says he's the type of competitor you love on your squad, but despise him if you're not. And that's what I love. I love a guy that's gonna yap. I want that guy. I want a Marcus Peters type guy on my team. I do. Joe dropped a 5. He says, I don't care if you run a 5.5. I don't care if you're a 5.5 and run a 4.8 40. If your film matches how talented you are, you're good no matter what matters the most. You're right. If your technique good, you good. You right, Dro. You right. But back to the point I was making, if you yap, and you can back it up, come to me. Me personally was never this type of high-end athlete, but in my little bubble where I grew up, when you talk to me, my game went through the roof. Like if we played the game and you never really said nothing, I just play my game and be whatever. But when you start talking to me, that took it a whole nother level, and I don't know why I just did that, but I went through the roof. went through the roof. Ravens 9 just said, them folks lying on Wiggins. He aggressive at the point of attack and don't back down from contact. Hey, but you're right. You said they lying. That's what them folks say. I didn't say it. Because I watched 3 games this morning, and he wasn't in a lot of situations where he had to tackle. So that's why I ain't speaking on this tackling. Excuse me, I don't know what's wrong. That's why I'm not speaking on this tackling, because the 3 games I watched, he wasn't in tackle situations a lot. So I ain't going to speak on this tackling. Because I didn't see him have to tackle. So I ain't going to put that bad juju out there. Because he wasn't in situations where he had to tackle. So I ain't going to say he don't like to tackle. So that's why I said they said. Because I didn't see him have to tackle. But as far as the weaknesses from this book, it says sleek and slender frame with below average bulk. Now he is thin. That is true. With mediocre arm length. And I don't really think that matters playing DB. He's late escaping blocks and must become more of a factor in the run game. Now, just because it says he must become more of a factor in the run game, that don't mean he don't like to tackle. That's 2 different things right there. He's patient and press, but needs to be better in physicality at the line. Now, I do have a clip of him pressing Tez Walker too, and I'll let y'all see the results of that too, whether he won or lost. I'll let y'all see that too in a minute. Guilty of grabbing in coverage. What DB ain't? What DB ain't guilty of grabbing in coverage? Needs to continue to develop his transition and technique. Missed some time because of injuries, hyperextension, and bone bruise on his left knee. Sidelined him for 2 games, missed 1 game as a sophomore because of a hip flexor. Inconsistent as a jammer on punt coverages. Almost all of his college experience came outside. Wasn't asked to play much nickel. Yeah, he only had like, and don't quote me on this, like 15 snaps as a nickel. I think that's about right. Like 15, I think, but it's less than 20 snaps as a nickel or as a slot person. So I think he can play in the slot, but he wasn't asked to play in the slot at Clemson. All right, this is the summary from Dane Brugler. For the 2-year starter at Clemson, Wiggins was an outside corner and the defensive coordinator Wes Goodman's scheme. An ascending player throughout his time with the Tigers, he combined for 25 passes defended in 23 games over the last 2 seasons and allowed just a 43.9% completion percentage when he was targeted in 2023. 2 of his 3 career interceptions came against Drake May in the versus North Carolina. Wiggins moves with quiet, controlled with feet and hips. He transitions out of his brakes and accelerates to top gear. Now, this interception that I'm going to show you, he goes from 0 to 100 real quick. And that's quoting Drake, but it's definitely accurate when I show it to you. He goes from 0 to 100 real quick because he's backpedaling. He opens his hips up, and when the ball comes out of Drake May's hand, it's like he's shot of a rocket. Because, I talked about earlier in the thing, they say he gives too much cushioning off man. And on this particular play, he gives a lot of cushion. But when he stick his foot in the ground and that ball come out, he's like he going instantly. And he go get the ball. Overall, Wiggins' slight frame and suspect play strength are legitimate concerns, but he is fast and fluid. He is a fast and fluid athlete with the cover awareness and on-ball production to be a starting perimeter corner in the NFL. He projects to be a long-time NFL starter with tools like those of Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, DRC. And I know if you're my age, you know DRC. Even if you're a little bit younger than me, you should know DRC. A legit corner with legit speed. All right, let's move on. I think we had a few of the clips. All right, here's a few of the clips I got for you. I think I got 4 for you. All right, that's him at the top of your screen right there. And see, look, he got his hips turned to the inside. Tez Walker gonna make an outbreaking route now. He gonna make an outbreaking route. Watch how fluid these hips are. Just watch. You see his hips turn to the inside. His hips are facing the open side of the field. Watch this fluidity. Now, I don't have slow-mo on this, so you got to pay attention to it. Look at it. Look how fluid that is. And I'm going to bag it up. That's as fast as Tez is going. I'm going to run it back. See, his hips are turned to the inside. Boom. Boom. That's just as fluid. Those some damn good hips. Them almost some Shakira-like hips. These hips ain't lying. Pause. That's pretty darn good. To have your hips totally turned toward the bottom of the screen right there. Now, as the receiver opens up, they're totally turned to the top of the screen with the receiver. That little technical stuff like that matters. The fluidity. That fluidity matters, especially when you got guys like Worthy that can in a matter of 1-2 steps. Can you open your hips and go with him like that? Just like the swiveling in this chair. I didn't even notice it till I did it. Can your hips move like the swiveling in this chair? He's just showed that he can. Because you got guys like Worthy that can 1 step be here, the 2nd step be here. Can your hips mirror that? And good DBs can. Let's go to the next play. Let's see. He is okay. Let me go to the beginning. Let's check this effort out. And I talked about him running people down. And now Chris Just Joking put this play on Twitter earlier. This is Wiggins up here at the top. If I hope you can see my mouse. This is him at the top. And he ain't really in the play. He getting blocked right here. But it's a dude diving at this running back. He's a full 3.5 yards at this point. He 4 yards behind the ball carrier. He 4 yards behind the ball carrier at the 35-yard line. 4. He 4 yards behind the ball carrier. This is a fumble. I know this dude, this referee right here finna call it a touchdown, but on review, they call this a fumble. He caught this dude, man. He caught this cat. It's like Tez is blocking him. Tez let him go. Right there. He a good 3.5 yards. Look at that. Look at that acceleration. Now he really caught him at the 3. So in a matter of about 30 yards, he closed 3 yards. Totally. Caught this dude, knocked the ball out. 4.28 different, ain't it? 4.28 a lot different. A lot different. See, that's him right there. Right here. Kind of, he behind his guy, trying to, so he just really gonna say, forget it. Let me clear my guy and get out of bounds and just put my head down and run. And look at it. That speed different. And that's what they was talking about earlier, when he can, like, if he gets beat on a route, he can just put his head down and close that gap. Now, there may be a few guys out there that he can't really run down, cheetah, few elite guys, but for the most part, if it ain't like a quick throw, he can run guys down. He can run guys down. Definitely. All right, this is the one where he pressed Tez out. This is them right here. Hopefully you can see my mouse. This is him right here. Watch him press him out. Got the hands on him. He just gonna run him to the sideline. And Ted's like 6'2", maybe 6'3", if I'm not mistaken. Chat box, correct me if I'm wrong. Ted's like 6'2", 6'3". Put them hands on him. Use the feet. Now it's just one hand. He's just using that right hand. Just run them to the sideline. Now you step out of bounds, you out to play, cuz. And talk that talk right here. Talk that talk. He remind me of Peters, man. Really do. What's this one? Oh, this is the pick, I think. Yeah, this is the pick. Now I talked about it earlier when I was rambling. I look at the cushion. Talk about how much cushion he gives. See that huge cushion in the off man? That's like 10 whole yards. And keep in mind, yes, Tez is fast, but you fast too. All right, but he just sit on it. And he's looking at Drake. Drake's already ready to throw, so he's reading the quarterback. So this is where those instincts come in. If you look at Drake May, he's on his back foot, ready to throw. He's not dropping anymore. So as a cornerback, I'm reading it. So I know the ball's going to come out, so there's no use of me continuing to drop unless it's a double move. Now, if it's a double move, I'm screwed. If it's a double move, I'm screwed. But he's just sitting on it, waiting on it. And his instincts, look how fast he closed on that, man. Look how fast he closed on it. Foot in the ground. Yeah. And get my feet in, too. When he decided to go, he went. When he decided to go, he went. And I just realized that I think he got both feet in. So this is even a pick in the NFL. That's one. That's the second foot right there. That's an NFL interception too. Crazy athlete. Now, the negatives. Because, I wasn't a huge fan when it happened, so I ain't going to front like I was extremely happy when this happened. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Will there be starting O-lineman there at 62? Because we picked Nate in the first round. That's my only negative for having Wiggins, for picking Wiggins in the first round. That's the only negative I got for it. So I ain't gonna get on here in front like I was super happy when this happened last night. I was not. I'm gonna keep it a beam. Like when we picked him, I'm like what are we doing? Well, were a lot of the tackles gone? Yes. Should we have reached for like Patrick Paul or somebody like that? No, but we could have gotten JPJ or somebody, somebody to help the O line out to do O line type things. So was I happy when we picked him? No, but that my only negative is I felt like there was a O line or two out there that we could have picked up that would have helped the O line. But that's my only negative for picking Nate Wiggins. Like he's a baller. I've talked about it for how long we been on here. I don't know how long I've been up. For 20 minutes, how good of a baller he is. Now I'm gonna talk about the positives. The positives. Let me get to the positives. All right. For the positive for picking Nate Wiggins, quality QB who can allow the D to be multiple. And let me explain. So our secondary is already good. Our secondary is already good. Already good. You put Wiggins in this mix. That allows Marlon to go back and do some of the things when we had all pro Marlo. When we had all pro Marlo could play some snaps outside. Marlo could go into the slot and do some things. And he could just bounce around and do some other things. Now you add Nate to this mix. You can have Stevens and Nate play some outside corner. And you can let Marlo bounce around and do some of them things. So when you look up in some nickel or some dime situations, and you got Nate outside, you got Brandon Stevens outside, you got Marlon in the slot, and you got Kyle in the slot. I like that. That's deadly. You add Nate to this an already good defensive back secondary. That's elite, man. That's really elite. That's really, really good. And another positive, and I didn't even put this up here. If something happens to Marlon or if something happens to Peters, you got a guy that you can go ahead and feel comfortable with playing. Second positive, if my Marlon contract is up, and I just realized it when I was on my lunch when I was going to get me something to eat, I think Brandon Stevens' contract is up before Marlon. So when Marlon contract is up or Brandon Stevens' contract is up, you got a guy already on your team. Plug him in there and go. Plug him in there and go. So if either one of them two guys want big money and you just want to move on from him, hey, you got a guy ready made right there. And then the last positive, cut some dead weight on past drafts. Pepe, Jalen Armour Davis, y'all can go. Because you can't make the club in the tub, and y'all seem to stay in the tub. I think it is, Alex. I think this is Stevens last year. Yeah, Pepe and Jalen Armour Davis, you can't make the club in the tub, and y'all seem to stay in the tub. Yeah, Keyshawn Mickens, that's one of the things I was thinking about. Blitz and Marlo, like all that different type stuff Marlo used to do when we had all pro Marlo, he can kind of go back to doing some of that stuff. You add Nate to the fold. So like, and I didn't like it because I wanted O-line, but it's not a bad pick because of what it does for the defense. I just didn't like it because I feel like because we got so many holes on the offensive line. So it is, and me not liking the pick does not mean Nate Wiggins is not a good player. He's a great player. Probably the best corner out there. And I'm so glad it's him and not somebody else. I would much rather it been him or Kool-Aid and not somebody else. So I'm cool with Nate. I'm cool with the pick. I had time to digest it, had time to look at some film on him, and I'm cool with the pick. I just pray that we can get, or hope that we can get somebody to help us fix this O-line now, because the guys that I feel like could help us right now in the O-line, only think they're going to be there at 62. And then listening to EDC's presser on the way to work this morning, he reiterated a couple times he's not a trade-up guy. So I don't know if we're going to get O-line help that's going to help us this year. So we probably going to have to run with what we brung to the O-line, and that still scares me. So I've been here long enough, man. I appreciate y'all. We're going to be live again for round 2. Same guys that was with us tonight last night, man, we had a blast, a bunch of laughs, a bunch of fun, a bunch of good information, and we back live tonight at 7 o'clock, man. I appreciate you guys for coming out. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I'll see y'all tonight, man. Appreciate it. Hey, put what you think about Nate Wiggins in the comment section, and I'll be sure I read them, and comment and respond to them, man. Peace and love. Terry Young got picked by the Lions, Casino Life. The Lions picked up Terry Young.